Let's talk about one of the biggest purchases you'll ever make, your home. We're going to pull back the curtain on the unseen rulebook that governs the whole thing. It's a system that affects literally millions of us, but honestly, very few people truly get how it all works.
I mean, you find the perfect place, you agree on a price, and bam, you get the keys. Sounds simple, right? Well, underneath that simple transaction, there's this whole complex legal dance going on. It's a system designed to make sure that when ownership changes hands, it's clear, it's fair, and it's legally bulletproof for everyone.
And the foundation for that whole system? It's a law called the Transfer of Property Act. You can think of it as the official instruction manual for ownership. It's there to replace chaos with clarity, making sure that whether you're buying, selling, or even gifting a property, everybody knows exactly where they stand.
Okay, so before we can get into how property moves from person to person, we've got to start with the most basic question of all. What does the law actually consider to be property? Because, the answer is way more specific than you might think.
So, this rulebook, it focuses on what's called immovable property. Now, legally speaking, this isn't just a patch of dirt. It's really a bundle of three separate things. You've got the land itself, any benefits you get from it, like, say, collecting rent, and finally, and this is key, anything that is permanently attached to the earth.
So what does attached to the earth really mean? Well, the law gives us three pretty clear categories. First, you've got things rooted in the earth, like trees and shrubs. Second, things that are embedded in it, like the walls and foundations of a house. And third, things attached to what's embedded for permanent use, think doors, windows. It's kind of wild, but it means your front door isn't just a piece of hardware. Legally, it's part of the property itself.
All right, so we've defined what the asset is. Now, how does it legally change hands? The rulebook lays out four main ways that property rights can be transferred.
And look, each of these serves a totally different purpose. A sale? That's straightforward. It's a complete transfer of ownership in exchange for a price. But a mortgage? You're not selling anything. You're just transferring a limited interest in the property as security for a loan. A lease isn't about ownership at all. It's about the right to enjoy the property in exchange for rent. And a gift? Well, that's a full ownership transfer, but with absolutely nothing expected in return.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Sometimes property isn't transferred for today, but for some point in the future. And in these cases, the law makes a critical distinction. Is that future transfer a guarantee, or is it just a possibility?
And that's the difference between what's called a vested interest and a contingent interest. A vested interest, think of that as a sure thing. It's tied to an event that is certain to happen, like a person's death. We don't know when, but we know it will happen. A contingent interest, on the other hand, is a big maybe. It all depends on an uncertain event, like getting the property if you graduate college. It might happen, it might not.
So why does this matter so much? Why is this distinction so critical? Well, it all boils down to one word: inheritance. A vested interest is a secure asset. It's yours, and you can pass it down to your heirs. But a contingent interest, well, it's fragile. If you happen to pass away before that maybe condition is met, that potential right to the property just vanishes. It can't be inherited. So after looking at what property is, how it moves, and the rules around future ownership, you start to see a theme here. This entire legal framework, all these rules, they exist for one core reason: to protect everyone involved by making every single step clear and secure. So let's recap the big takeaways. First, property isn't just land. It's a very specific, legally defined bundle of rights. Second, every single transfer, from a sale to a lease, has its own unique rulebook. Third, the certainty of a future transfer makes a huge legal difference. And finally, just getting these basics down is the best way to prevent some really costly misunderstandings later on.
At the end of the day, this unseen rulebook isn't there to make things more complicated. It's actually built to do the exact opposite. It takes what could be a super messy, confusing situation and turns it into a transparent, predictable process that protects the rights of everyone who's a part of it. So now that you've had a peek inside the rulebook, think about the property you live in, or maybe one you hope to own someday. Does understanding this whole structure, from what attached to the earth actually means to the certainty of an inheritance, does it change how you view it? Because it's not just four walls and a roof, it's a powerful bundle of legally defined rights.